So here we are on board Banque Populaire, the 100-foot trimaran. So just in the middle of the cockpit, I'll give you a quick look around. So I guess the main station for me anyway is the handles. So we got the two handles on either side, which either turn the winches, the 4 winches here, or the hydraulics. There's a lot of hydraulics on board, which means there's actually not that many ropes in the pit for a normal boat, if you like, or a boat this size, because so much goes through hydraulics. And so yeah, I mean, a general kind of in-action start line or maneuver, we've got one person driving at the helm, who's obviously got his head out. We've got one person who runs the pit, so that's Armel who drives, and Seb Joss, who's his co-skipper, that runs the pit, because so obviously if you make a small area on these boats, you can pay heavy quickly because everything's such high loads. We've got one person in nav. I'll show you inside the cockpit. There's a bit of a nav station, and then basically four people winding the handles. So there's a lot of handle winding. For example, attack is so foil down. You start that 5 minutes before the attack. Foil down, rudder down. Then you jib across, then foil up, rudder up, and all of that's about 10 to 15 minutes worth of handle winding, pumping a lot of oil, and yeah. So that's yeah, I guess that's the basics of the cockpit. So here we've got a control for the flap on the Daggerboard. So it's in the middle of the boat, and it's a fixed wing with a flap on the back of it, and so we can push or pull with it. And so with this, you pull on one way to push, you pull on the other way to pull, and so you can it's like a traveller on a normal boat. Either you can push the boat up to make it lean more, or you can pull it down to give it more righting moment. And yeah, I don't know how many tons it pulls, but when you're going 40 knots, you can feel it. Put it that way. Yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of hydraulics on board. So there's pumps which are turned by the handles, and so all here we've got the foil controls either side. So you go foil up, foil down, and then foil rake with the handles with the hydraulics. And you've got the rudders. So you can do the floater rudders and the central rudder, and they're the same as the Daggerboard. They've got a flap on it as well. You've got the shroud, so the mast cants 6 degrees both sides. And so you can cant the mast both ways. There's the main sheet, which is hydraulic as well. The outhaul, which is hydraulic. The Daggerboard, which in the middle of the boat goes up and down, which is hydraulic. And then all the tack lines are hydraulic. So there's 4 head sails basically. There's a J3, a J2, a J1, and then J0. And so yeah, we got halyard locks here, which are at the top of the rig with just small halyards, and then the big hydraulic pumps to put the tack tension in. And yeah, so you spend a lot of time winding handles to push oil around, and for various different things. But it actually makes for a cockpit with very few ropes in it, and systems which, when they work, are pretty easy and simple to use. So yeah, this is the helm station. So we've got one each side, steering wheel, and so from here you can obviously, standing up, you can see the front of the boat, and you can see the foil. We actually steer to leeward quite a lot, so you can see how the boat's flying, and how the foils are acting. You've got some numbers here, some numbers on the front beam you can see when your head's out the boat, and an autopilot here, which is primarily used when they're short-handed sailing. But yeah, I mean, the idea is from here you can do everything, and you can also quite easily speak to the cockpit, and then normally put a comm system on to speak to the nav station for all the nav controls and at the start and things like that, so everyone's in the same loop without having to shout too much. So yeah, we've got a few things on the ceiling. So this string is for canting the rig. And the idea is the helmsman can cant the rig. Generally, that's a release to let it go to leeward before attack. So as I said, the rig goes 6 degrees from one side to the other. So just before attack, you'll gravity drop it 6 degrees to leeward, and then you'll tack. And so either the helmsman can take it here, or anyone in the cockpit can tape it in the middle, and it's just a pull release. And then also we've got the main sheet. So the main sheet has the same one, which runs through the middle of the cockpit and then goes across over the nav station, over the bunk. So you can do it from in bed when you're short-handed sailing. And then also for the helmsman, there's a foot release here, so you press on that and it'll ease a bit of main sheet. And yes, all of that is from anywhere on the boat. You can use the main sheet, which is sort of your lifeline if the boat starts going over. Is to use the main sheet, and sometimes even use the rig. But I mean, to be honest, these boats sail really flat now with the foils. Even upwind, we've got no heel on, so actually capsizing sideways is unlikely, and pitch poling with the T-rudders is unlikely as well. But anything's possible, so we keep them to hand just in case. So yeah, here we are in kind of the living space, if you like, which is primarily designed around single-handed sailing. Armel sailed the boat single-handed around the world last year, so this is where he lives. And for the transat, double-handed transats are the same. So he's got bed here for sleeping. For the Fastnet, he slept here with the navigator. and the rest of us slept downstairs, so he was always following what was happening. And then on the other side we got nav station. So you got a seat here where you got the 2 screens and access to all the nav information, everything on the computer, and autopilot controls, which is not really fully crewed, but you got it there. And this screen can actually pivot all the way around and sit over the bunk as well, so when Armel's sleeping, he can have all the nav station stuff in his bed. And apart from that, lots more electronics, the back of the hydraulics, and this is a kitchen which we didn't use for the fully crewed stuff because it just gets a bit of a traffic jam up here, and so we lived downstairs and did all the cooking and eating downstairs. But yeah, so it's kind of the central point of the boat and where everything happens, if you like. So yeah, so this is the living space, and then down here there's a hole with a ladder, and then this is where all the sleeping and eating happens. Down the hole, and so we've got our kitchen here. So just a cooker to cook food, all the bags with everyone's day bags in it of food. Towards the back of the boat, there's our Fowley storage area and the toilet all the way at the back, with a bit of a sea view for the kitchen and the toilet, with the escape hatches which are put in the right place. And yes, so everything kind of life is happening down here. You have to come get dressed and feed yourself ready for your watch when you go up on deck. Yeah, so here we are down the hole and towards the front this time, and so this is a sleeping space. You've got 3 bunks, 2 to port and 1 to starboard, and so this is where most of the crew get some rest, apart from the skipper and nav who sleep upstairs, and then storage. So the engine's in this locker here, and then forward there's a bit of storage, but apart from that it's just waterproof bulkhead one after another, and carbon structure and nothing else. So yeah, all the living area is in this after the mast. The mast is probably about here, to give reference to where we are on the boat, and everything forward of that is just storage. Yeah, so for getting out we've got 2 options. One is jumping up through the roof, which is a big jump, and option 2 is to crawl on all 4s out underneath the aero fairings and up after the front beam. I'm going to take option 2. There you go, this is the way out, and there's a helpful little step once you've gone through all 4s, and then you're on deck onto the trampoline. So it's not very practical on the dock, but once you're sailing it doesn't really make much difference. The boat is really thought about aero, because you're going quite fast. The aero is obviously really important, so there's the aero fairings on the back. One of the reasons the cockpit's so easy to get in or difficult to get in and out of is because it's all aero fairings on the back beam and the cockpit. So yeah, it's all thought of around that. And then apart from that, this is on deck. Obviously not a lot happens up here when you're going 40 knots. You try and avoid being up here as much as you can, but like I said, there's the 2 extra head sails, so if you need to do a sail change you're going up there. And then just general checks, taking a reef in if you ever need to do that, which we didn't for the Fastnet, but yeah, here we are. So yeah, that's the Banque Populaire boat. So we just finished the Fastnet, which took us just under 2 days. Not very quick for us, but I guess the quickest bit was from the rock, which we went round yesterday afternoon and we finished first thing this morning. And I don't know what the average speed is, but somewhere around 35 knots from the way back from the rock. So yeah, once you got the wind for it, they're pretty impressive boats, and I'm very fortunate to be on board one for the Fastnet, and I had a good race, and looking forward to what's next.